Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mark Ediss, a.k.a. Shark, the PA announcer and DJ from your Savannah Bananas, and you are watching the Legends on Deck podcast with hosts Brian Koss and David Conde.
Welcome to episode 107 of the Legends on Deck podcast. I'm Brian Koss, along with my co-host, David Conde. And today's guest is Corey Sweeney. Corey is a manager and events coordinator with How You Doing Sports. He's worked with a number of athletes, particularly baseball players, mostly in the retired baseball community. And Corey, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Definitely. So anything that has to do with baseball, right, Brian? It doesn't matter if you work at the stadium, if you work with the players, if you're involved in the game. 100%. We want to talk to you because it's a story, it's a journey.
Awesome.
Yeah, 100%. One of these days we got to get like a one of those guys that's been selling peanuts at the ballpark for like 50 years and get one of those guys on the podcast.
I want to get the guy that does a scoreboard because I want to see when they make a mistake, who gets blamed for it. That's what I want to see.
I could get you guys an old beer vendor. He's retired. He worked he's 76. He did it for 52 years, all the way back to the old stadium even in the 40s, I believe he was doing it. He said he might have done it longer than that.
Pretty amazing, actually.
That would be perfect because there's a huge bunch of stories I'm sure he's seen, in those different stadiums. So that would be awesome to get that.
Okay, I can reach out to him.
But before we get into that, we can worry about that later. Today's about Corey, so kind of give us an idea, the company you have and where it all started and how it brought you to where you are today.
So, man, it's been a journey. It started technically during COVID. I was working as a bartender, and I was also working for the Columbus Blue Jackets hockey team. I lived in Columbus, Ohio at the time. Lost both of my jobs within 5 minutes of each other. Didn't really know what was going to happen, like most of us. So just kind of was just hanging out one day looking for work. I ended up getting a job at a grocery store called Kroger. It's what we have here in the Midwest. And it's kind of like a Publix, like what you guys have down there. And then I just started putting together a business plan. Wanted to do a podcast, like video podcast, like those interviews that you see people doing. I actually reached out to Chuck. That's how I got started with him. I reached out to him through Facebook. He actually ignored me for 3 years. He left me on red. He told me to F off a few times through Facebook Messenger because he thought I wanted something for free. He thought I was going to be like most people, just asking him for stuff for free. I had him as a friend on Facebook, but he would never return my messages. So, one day he just randomly messaged me out of the blue and said, "Hey, I like what you're doing. I want to be a part of this. Let's do something." So I booked a trip down to Houston a couple months later and paid him to do a video interview to sign some stuff. Quickly realized I did not want to go the video or podcast route. It just wasn't for me. Then the expenses of traveling with the cameras and all of that, I just was like, no, I don't want to do that. And it kind of just took off from there. COVID kind of changed everything for me with everybody, with the trading cards blowing up and the autographs blowing up and just having more time to focus on a business plan and realizing that I don't want to work for somebody for the rest of my life. And what can I do that I'm my own boss and can travel that I love to do, go to sports games, hang with athletes. And it kind of just all blended together. I ended up booking the Pinstripe Pride for Chuck. 3 years ago, 2024, they made a post and I commented and I said, "Hey, Chuck Knoblauch would like to go to this." And they sent me a message saying, "What are his details?" I got Chuck into it. And then ever since that day, over 2 years ago, it's kind of just been, I kind of just, said to Chuck, like, let me do this for you. I have no experience. I didn't go to college for this. You know, I didn't have any connections at the time. Like, I just was all me making phone calls, emails, social media messages. And when I'm in New York, when we have some off time, I'm going into establishments, pitching them these ideas, and we're just kind of just going from there. And it's just blown up over the last couple of years.
You know, it was amazing. You said since COVID, right? And I can't believe
Right.
it's been 6 years already since
That's nuts.
since COVID happened. And then, you know, even with us, you know, baseball shut down, the minor league section shut down. You know, it's like we went from looking for a year of baseball to half a year and not much going on in terms of what we were doing, and we had to reinvent what we wanted to do. And I think that's, Brian, correct, when the podcast was born in 2021.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
out of everything that happened. So it's amazing how, you know, different types of businesses or different types of opportunities arise out of the whole COVID experience.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I pulled a couple things away from what you were saying. First of all, I think your story is the power of persistence, because
Yep.
you blowing up Chuck Knoblauch's DMs for long enough finally got his attention. And he finally said, okay, well, maybe this guy's got some value that he could bring to me. But I guess my bigger question is, what gave you this idea to go? So you started with, was Chuck your first guy that you worked with?
Yes.
Okay. And what gives you this idea to go out and say, hey, I want to work with primarily retired players, right?
Right.
Guys that are, you know, that you may have grown up watching and well, what could I do to extend their, you know, their relevance in terms of getting in front of the fan base and taking full full advantage. I don't want to say advantage; it sounds bad, but full advantage of what they were able to do in their careers, and the fans, you know, get in front of the fans that remember them the most.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So prior to COVID, I was autographing, I guess you can call it, autographing at the minor league baseball stadium in Columbus, Ohio. But I wasn't really I wasn't doing it like that often. It actually happened by accident. I just happened to be walking around one day, and I made the wrong turn. I was new to Columbus. I made the wrong turn, and I saw a bunch of people standing outside a back door. And with how crazy I am, I was like, oh, let's wait with these people. You know, that could be the truck loading up to take you to your death. But hey, I was all for it. So I waited with them, and then saw that the players were coming out, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is cool. Like, I've always liked getting autographs as a kid. I didn't have many at the time. So I started ordering some cards, figuring out what minor league guys were coming in, who the top prospects were, some of the veteran coaches. And then that kind of just, when COVID hit and losing the jobs, and then obviously no in-person sports, no in-person autographing, the TTMs, the through the mails where you can send guys stuff through the mail to get signed and returned, that started getting big. You know, I was missing that. So I kind of figured, like, let's start a business that incorporates all of it: travel, autographs, sports, players. It was all just naturally flowed together. There was really no precise plan beforehand. I've kind of adapted as time has gone on and times have changed. I've just adapted to it.
Yeah, so that the idea was just kind of revealed to you as you you know, noticed what was going on and kind of looked at the landscape of what the market was for that, and then started rolling with the idea.
That's true. And then now I still do some of that. So like the minor league guys, I know a lot of them are Fanatics and Bowman and all of that. They have, unfortunately, they have these big contracts, but I still make contacts with some of the prospects that aren't necessarily big, because you never know how they're going to turn out. And I get their contact info because I have a guy in Minnesota. So he always likes, and their AAA is St. Paul Saints, right across, down the road. So St. Paul comes into Indianapolis, where I live, a few times a year. So I get a lot of the St. Paul Saints contact info, And then this guy reaches out to me, and I bring Chuck to his show every year. And then I have contact info for the prospects. And if their schedules align, he has one of the prospects come in to his show. And I don't necessarily get paid for that. I don't really want the younger guys to pay me. They pay me in signatures because, you know, a lot of the newer guys are very tough autographs. So I don't take a financial payment from them. I just have them sign like 20 or 25 items for me. And that's worth more to me than a payment, so to speak.
Absolutely. So that's absolutely very interesting angle on that because, I mean, if you're able to do it on the younger side too, the Bowman prospect, like my son and I are into Bowman prospecting with baseball cards. So it's like, yes, they hit it. You're kind of hitting them on both ends. Then you're hitting the retired player, you know, kind of bringing in the bigger marquee name, and then tying that back to the you know, the guys coming up, and the fan base that follows that system.
Right. Yeah.
My I want to ask you a question when it comes to when you go to your events and you're amongst the fans. How many fans come out? How, you know, are they the old school fans or the younger crowd coming out? Because, you know, nowadays, you know, you tell a fan nowadays the name of a ball player from like the 80s or even the 90s, and they're like, who? You know, so where do you the demographics of your events? What do you see coming out to want to meet Chuck and stuff?
So, man, it honestly just depends. We were just in Iowa in November. We were doing the Iowa chapter Yankee Pinstripe Faithful, and it's people from all over Iowa and parts of Minnesota and South Dakota that are part of this club. And the good thing with Chuck is he was also a Twin, so he drew a large crowd because of the Twins and the Yankees. It's not necessarily a Yankee-only group, but they market it as a Yankee-only group, and they have one player out every year, and it's like a meet and greet, a card show, all of that. So with that, we did 459 guests, a total of 729 autographs, which Chuck blew that record away. That was like 75 times greater, I think, 75% greater than their normal show. And that demographic was all over the place. We had a 7-year-old kid want his Yankee hat signed. And of course he doesn't know who Chuck is, but he was there with his dad, and his dad was a huge fan from his Twins days. It honestly just depends on where we are and what type of event it is. But we've drawn big crowds, small crowds, even a bar that's not that big and has terrible marketing. We could still do 40 or 50 people, which I think is phenomenal for a bar that did not promote it at all. That made one Instagram story 4 weeks before, and 40 people still showed up. So Chuck is a big name. He draws really well. And the demographic is all over the place. Primarily we see 35 to 60 year olds. Like, they're that demographic that is watch Chuck play as a kid. I'm 33. So like I was 8 years old when Chuck was doing what he was doing. I remember that. I'm a huge baseball fan. I remember that. But of course, people a little bit older than me were in their teens, 20s, 30s, and they know that. They're like, oh my God, Chuck, he's a legend. Like, people they go crazy when they finally meet him, telling them stories and just asking him stuff. And that's our primary demographic, is 35 to 60 year olds is who we see the most.
I think that number is probably what we see the most on the website, is 35 to 60 year olds, because we cover a lot of the old school guys. We cover baseball, but, you know, that generation to Brian and myself is a huge we've watched them growing up, so, you know, we're truly attracted to those ball players. How many things do you do within a year? Do you find yourself doing with Chuck? How many events?
So every year we're growing. As I'm gaining contacts and we're getting out there on social media and people are seeing it. We're definitely growing. This year we've already done one. We were at Pinstripe Pride in New Jersey a few weeks ago. We have a lot coming up. We're going to be at Fanatics Fest at the Javits Center this year. We're going to be at the National in Chicago. Obviously the cruise, which, we could touch base on all that again in a little bit. But we have 23 confirmed booked events this year, which is double what we did last year and triple what we did the year before.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's growing.
You see what happens when he probably thinks, "Oh man, thank you for bothering me and harassing me for all those years because look what you've done. You're more than above what you promised."
Oh yeah, because he would do one or two things a year. He would do what's it called? TriStar. It's down in Houston. They would have him in twice a year, or he might go to like the Dallas show or something. But he was doing 2 shows a year. Now we're doing, this year 24 because we have 23 remaining. We already did one, and it's just growing. I'm not even done. I'm not even anywhere near done booking anything, booking everything the rest of this year. So it's growing a lot.
That's great. Yeah, that's an average in two a month, and I know you kind of cluster them up, so they're probably more multiple events in one location or around one location, one area. But yeah, that's a huge growth, and it shows you to a couple of things. One, it shows you like the general, obviously interest in him, but also just that industry of baseball. And sort of the nostalgia of it, and the autograph and the mark and the baseball cards and the market, just that niche of memorabilia and all that is a growing field. And people want to not just watch sports on TV and watch baseball games on TV and kind of track the stats on their phones. They want these like interpersonal experiences with players, with people that have been involved in the game. So I think that shows a lot of that in what you're doing.
Yeah, I would agree, and I appreciate those words, and I definitely agree. It's, I hope the market stays as hot as it has been the last couple of years, but you never know. That's a concern is that it will all end one day and there won't be any shows to book.
Well, I think in some ways it's really, some of that is dependent on the people's disposable income in the economy. So even considering that disposable income isn't super high right now, that people still have an interest in this stuff. But I think it really is like that interpersonal, and my personal opinion is if we get further down the track of automation and AI and all those types of things, I think people will want more of that, not less of it. Because they are going to want to connect with people, not just computers and robots. So I do think that you're going to have. I think you're heading in the right direction with it, and just this whole like connection to the players. I was watching, and I think I sent David this yesterday in our Legends on Deck writers group, but Paul Skeens was out signing autographs for, at spring training. And, you really couldn't have a better autograph right now than having Paul Skeens' autograph in the baseball market. Right. And he was, for what I could see, he's spending time out there just walking out, spending time going up and down the line, signing hats, signing balls, signing whatever people are putting in front of him. So, to me, that's what people remember, and they want to connect with the players on the field. And that's what creates like that next generation of fans. And Chuck kind of connects with the older generation of fans, or guys like my age who grew up watching him. So I think you're doing something.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a great point you bring up. I never really thought of that. As we get more into AI and the robots and stuff, people are going to want that in-person connection. Especially a guy like Chuck who caters to multiple generations, and he actually gives you the time of day. I've been to a lot of signings where the current players, not only are they charging outrageous amounts of money, their autograph is usually terrible, and they can't look up from their phone for 2 seconds. And I don't want to pay, like, for instance, who was it? Ellie De La Cruz. Now, I didn't go, so I don't know how he was there, but I believe it was $150 for a signing. So you wait in line and you get to go up to him for not even 5 seconds. It's like 5 seconds. He gives you an EDC autograph or EDLC or something like that. And that's it. And it's like, okay, cool. I have this card signed, but I didn't get my picture with him unless I paid extra. I didn't get to actually like talk to him and look into his eyes, and he looks into me and we have a conversation. Chuck will do that at the shows. A lot of the older guys will do that. And those guys, and it's not taking away the talents of any of the current players, those guys have actually won something. Most of these guys nowadays haven't really won anything. They make these outrageous amounts of money, and then you have to pay hundreds of dollars to get in front of them for 5 seconds, and they can't give you the time of day. And it's ridiculous. I rather the promoters and the fans put their money towards the older guys, and you actually get a good autograph, a conversation, and you get something from somebody who actually won something, and it's worth more at the end of the day.
Well, what you can do if you end up exploding where you have too many events, you can utilize the AI by the hologram and have Chuck in one place when he's really in another place.
That's perfect.
Oh God,
That's perfect.
I don't
just for those AI events. Just for those AI events, just
special AI. Yes, a hologram of Chuck.
That's funny.
We can't be there that weekend, but we can send the hologram.
Oh God, I don't think we want 2 Chucks. 1 Chuck is enough to manage and to babysit sometimes. That's unfortunately. So 2 Chucks, oh man, I could not do it. I'd quit. I'd resign. That man, I love him, but oh my God, that man is just too much sometimes.
He was a fun guest in our show. I will say that he was.
That's awesome.
He kept he told a lot of great stories and had us really like in our on the edge of our seats listening to those old stories. So we had a lot of fun.
Brian, what I didn't really understand before, I understand now. Like the older players, we didn't have social media the way the guys have it now, right? So you grab an older player, they want to talk and share their story because sometimes it's hard to know. Like we heard great stories from Chuck, we've heard great stories from Jim Leritz and some other guys from that era, where the guys nowadays, everyone's all over social media. Everyone pretty much knows everything. So to have the older guys, it's better, for their stories because they want to talk more, they want to share it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Things were a lot more like closed off from everyone.
Yeah.
Right. You had like your beat writers that were writing for the papers and spreading rumors or whatever, but I think they were a little bit more separated from the average person, and they have those intimate team stories or interpersonal stories with different players and different experiences with managers or front office people, and all the other thing too about that, David, to add to your point. Sometimes when you're a current player, you really don't want to talk that much, especially to media, especially to put on social media. Once you're like 20 years removed from that situation, then you'll sit and you would just kind of give it to everybody, right? And say, hey, this is I remember this, and I experienced this, and there's not like that, you can reflect, and there's not like that social pressure on you from teammates or front office people. You can be a little more honest.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree. That's a good analogy. That's the longer they are out of retirement or in retirement, the more open they get. And that's something I hear about Chuck all the time. Obviously, I was a little kid when he was playing, so I wasn't really going to games like that and autographing and stuff. But I've heard from guys that are in their 50s and 60s that were in their 30s back then that Chuck was always a hard autograph. He would barely sign autographs. He was known to be just flat out mean to people, like tell them to F off and all of that. So what I've been told of what I've done with him, getting him out to the public, especially a guy who has all of the accolades that he has, the 4-time All-Star, 4-time World Series, Rookie of the Year, multiple Silver Sluggers, Gold Gloves. Like for somebody like that who played next to Jeter, played with Posada, was part of 2 perfect games, somebody with all of those accolades, not doing anything during his playing days, like signing-wise, now all of these years after retirement, I've gotten him out of his shell, and out there. And like, we've been in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. We've been to Minnesota. We're going to Chicago next month. We're going to Boston and Minnesota literally in the same weekend. Like, when we have our cruise, we're going to Nashville. Like, we have a lot of stuff we're doing, and it's spreading him all over the country that, you know, Yankee fans in Tennessee probably can't get to New Jersey for a signing. Well, now he's going to be in Tennessee. So that opens up an entire new market that we haven't been to for somebody like him who has the accolades that he has.
Yeah. Hopefully he hasn't met any fans that told him that he shunned them back in the day. So hopefully they're not around.
No, we haven't. I see all of the social media comments about, oh wow, he was this back in the day, and oh, hopefully he doesn't drop the Sharpie, and it's, you know, because of his yips. He's over it. He doesn't care. But I like to leave. I know, but it's like, seriously, you're making the same few comments. Did you play for the Yankees? Did you hit key home runs in the World Series? Did you have career earnings of $48 million? Probably not. So it's just ridiculous that some people still feel the need to make the same joke time and time again.
Well, it's social media too.
Of course.
You know, my son, he posts on social media. We have an account that is his, and he rips baseball cards like every day and puts them online.
Oh, cool.
He's been doing this is his goal for like 2026 is to rip a pack every day for a year. So,
oh, wow.
He's starting to get traction and starting to get views, and he gets a comment and a few haters jump on. I'm like, George, don't worry about it. Like, let them jump. I said, you just be thankful somebody's comments, right? So, like, the fact that somebody wants to bash Chuck Knoblauch on social media, I think that speaks to the fact that they actually care enough to comment.
Right.
So that's kind of how I view it. Like, if you don't have somebody, and people are more likely to be very negative online, and those same people may actually show up and pay for an autograph. But
that's where I was going with the next, like, 95% of the time. I remember a lot of faces, but like, I don't know every Facebook comment, but 95% of the time they're still showing up and paying for an autograph. So it's like really, like, I had some guy comment on a post, some Connecticut event we're doing, and I don't know who the guy is. I've never heard of him, never met him, nothing. And he told me I should give up and I'm not Scott Boras. And I said, well, first of all, I'm not trying to be Scott Boras. And second of all, I'm 33. Scott Boras is like 55. So I guarantee you, when he was my age, he had no clients at all. So, like, seriously, dude, like where are you going with this?
Right. Well, you know, it's just, yeah. I wouldn't even let that kind of thing phase you. People are gonna be like that. But I kind of understand where these guys come with autographs. So, but I have a kind of like this line in my head. If I'm a ball player, I would sign anything for a kid, but I would be very happy to, you know, just walk away from an adult that wants my autograph. And it's not because I don't want them to have it, is that I know that most of those guys are going to go flip that autograph online. So it's like, okay, like, you're going to get to a kid that's excited to meet you. So you might as well have them show up to an event and pay to get it. So, I mean, that's kind of how I think about it. So I do understand that. So, and even, you know, Chuck maybe back in the day might have had that mentality. He's like, you go to any of these events, and I would say, well, my son and I, when he was, I don't know, 6, maybe, 4 years ago, my dad took us up in Detroit to go to Miguel Cabrera autograph signing. And Miguel Cabrera doesn't do very many autograph signings. And he, it was obviously, you know, a paid event, but it was 80 to 90% adult men, right? Right. So, you know, I get it. Like, charge them to come in. And if it's a kid that's walking by, standing at the, you know, by the dugout, and you're like standing there and you shun a kid like that, I kind of would frown on that. But, you know, for the most part, I don't blame these guys.
Right. Oh, yeah. And yeah, that's a great point you bring up. We've, like, just for an example, a couple weeks ago at Pinstripe Pride, Chuck signed probably at least 3,000 autographs in 3 hours, most likely more. And then we're not even out of the event for 10 minutes. We get back to the hotel, and there's a group of grown men sitting in the lobby, and they just hold their stuff out. And it's like, I always leave that up to Chuck. Like I say, if you want to sign, but just remember that your signature is your savings account. Every autograph you sign for free could possibly be cutting into your future money. And if you don't want to sign, we don't sign. We won't say anything. We'll just say no, sorry, later, whatever, get in the elevator and go up. But unfortunately, he did sign. And it's just, he's a grown man. He can make his own decision, but
it's hard because you're the player. These are the fans. You're almost like, not in the game anymore. You want to keep that going, but it's
right.
I've been to games where the guy opens up the folder and it's like 50 cards, and he expects them to sign them all. And I'm like, dude, like, get out of here. Like, let the kids sign. Like, go.
And that's exactly what these guys had. They had like 15 cards, a couple balls, a couple of yearbooks, team pieces. So it's just they're a combination of fans, and they're going to sell some stuff. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, you could have said to them, "Hey, we were just at this event. We got another one coming up. Hold up stuff you have. Meet us at the event, and we're all good."
Well,
here's how to buy a ticket. Yeah.
Chuck actually did say that. Chuck looked at the guy dead in his eyes and said, "Oh, I didn't just sign a lot of items before." Like,
right.
It's just, I mean, it is what it is. It's something that you just can't really like dwell on. You don't know who's actually selling stuff, who's not, because you could have a kid come up to you and say he's a big fan, but you didn't watch him play because Chuck's been retired for 23, 24 years. So you don't really know. That's why I leave it up to Chuck or whoever I'm with, because at the end of the day, it's really their call if they want to. You can kind of tell who's going to sell it, who's not, who's taking advantage, who's not. But really, at the end of the day, like, a lot of these guys do go into the shows, but they have to pay to enter, and they have to pay per autograph. So they pay and get one or two things signed, and then, they see them at the hotel. It's like, all right, like, they did pay.
Yeah, they're already coming in. Yeah, just give an extra autograph.
Just give an extra one. I leave it up to Chuck, though. I don't really tell people one way or the other. We actually got hit right before the elevator. And then, of course, Tommy John comes out of the elevator. Terry Mulholland comes out of the elevator. And Daryl Strawberry comes out of the elevator. So they're all stopped talking. And I'm trying to get Chuck. I'm trying to say, dude, like, come on. Like, let's get into the elevator. Because I see the masses running. And I'm like, they're probably going to go after Tommy John or Straw first and not Chuck. Nope, they all went after Chuck first. And Chuck is talking to all of them, and I can't get him into the elevator. And I'm just like, all right, well, looks like we're doing this. So
that's crazy.
It's too funny.
Yeah.
But, can you share with us a little bit about what you guys coming up? I mean, you share with about a cruise you have coming up. Can you share with us about that and what's involved with that?
Yeah. So, in terms of the cruise, that is called the Legends of Baseball Cruise. That is ran by a gentleman named Rob Steinfeld. He's like the franchisee. It's through Celebrity Cruises. Chuck is going to be on that cruise, as well as Doc Gooden, Ron Bloomberg, Jesse Barfield, Mickey Rivers, Howard Johnson, Art Shamsky, and a few others. They kind of had some guys drop out, and some new guys have been replaced. Goes from New Jersey down to Bermuda. It's a 7-day cruise, and the entire time the players are just going to be hanging out. There's going to be a wiffle ball game on the beach. There's going to be watch parties because the Yankees are playing the Mets, I want to say, that weekend before. So I think one of the nights is Yankees-Mets watch party on the ship. And then there's fishing excursions and scuba diving and just golfing and just stuff like that. I believe the signups have already happened. I don't think they have any cabins left, but they do this cruise every year. And there's always the same few guys as well as new guys. Like Jimmy Liritz was on it one year, and Charlie Hayes goes on it every year. He's another one. they like to switch it up with having different guests, but also having the same guests. So if that's something somebody is interested in, follow their Facebook page, Legends of Baseball Cruise, and just kind of keep tabs on the updates every year. Once this cruise is done in May, signups for the next year will already start.
Do you go with Chuck to the cruise?
I will be on the cruise this year with him. He's allowed a +1, and I'm the one that kept up on this for 3 years for him, almost 3 years, and honestly, he hasn't said anything to me about it in the almost year and a half we've been booked on this cruise. So I went ahead and put myself as the +1, just because I'm the one getting him the payment, and I figured, hey, I might as well go on this. So and also too, he's not on a set schedule, but this also isn't like a vacation where you can just sit at the pool and drink the entire time. Like, he does have stuff he has to go on, and there is a cruise player, director, manager, whatever. But I want to make sure that he's also doing the things he needs to do, because it's in the contract. He has to be available for events every day. So I felt like me being on the cruise, I'm able to keep him on track and kind of keep him mellowed out and not get upset or angry if he's told he has to, go to this event. He can't do this first. He has to go to this event first.
Right. You need somebody to keep your calendar together.
So is it
exactly?
Is it they only have interaction with the people and the fans, whatever, in the events, or is it basically if they walk in anywhere and dinner that you're free to go up to them and talk to them, or is it kind of limited?
So if you booked through the Legends of Baseball group, you're with the players the entire time. You're having dinner with them, drinks. There's set events that you're going to be with them. When it's the free time, we're allowed to go anywhere in the ship that we want. The cruise isn't just for the Legends of Baseball cruise. It's a regular cruise ship that holds 3,000 to 4,000 people. I think they have 200 or so people going on this cruise. So those people will get the interactions with the players. And then on our off time, if we're out and about in other parts of the cruise ship and people recognize them, or there's other people we want to hang out with outside of the events that the cruise puts on themselves, then we can do that. But the people who paid specifically for this Legends of Baseball cruise, they get the firsthand experience for it.
That's cool.
So you've got a pretty busy calendar coming up this year.
Yes, we do.
What's your busiest month on the calendar? Yeah, but
as of now, April.
Okay.
Stuff. It's kind of crazy because there's people that I talk to for 6 months to make an event 6 months down the road, and then I get ghosted 6 months into it. But then there's other people that are like, oh no, let's do something. I have an opening a month from now, and we make it work. But as of right now, exactly right. As of right now, I would say April's our busiest. We're going to be in Connecticut and New York April 11th, and then that next weekend we're in Boston one day, and then we're in Minnesota the next day. I just don't have the exact dates yet, but we're literally going to be in one city one day, one city the next day. I just don't know the order of it. And then Connecticut and New York the weekend before.
Well, I'll say if you're welcome to send if you're looking to promote any of these events or looking to list them out, you could always put something together for us. We'll put it up on the website.
Awesome.
Let people know where Chuck's going to be and what he's doing.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I think Brian, we need to do a Legends on Deck cruise, and then we just have Corey bring whoever he wants to bring on, and we just sell up the whole boat. And then that's it, and it'll be Legends on Deck and the Legends. You see, I think that'll be us.
And we should,
man.
and if you really think about it, David, we should be sailing to the Bahamas so we could go visit with our Bahama baseball connections.
Yes, we
and
get
do
Jeff.
that.
Exactly.
We do the home run derby. It would
And
be,
yes, we could bring Chuck to do the Bohemian home run derby on the beach.
Right.
With the Blink home run derby, we can get that involved. Yeah, we have a lot of connections, Corey. We can connect. We could probably go to Dubai and do the Baseball United.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's do it.
That's gonna be the next cruise. Like I don't know. I might want to stay out of the Persian Gulf right now. But nonetheless, well, Corey, I think we really appreciate you coming on, telling your story. Your connection with us and with Chuck and all that has really been a great asset to Legends on Deck. Really interested in what you're doing. I think you really put something very unique together with what you're doing with the memorabilia and with the players and like I said, I hope to see more of it in the future.
And also persistence. You're proving that persistence works, and if you believe in something, you go after it. It just turns into all of this. So
Exactly. Yeah, I don't take no for an answer. So
Very good.
Yeah, thank
Very
you.
good. So
Awesome.
This was
Thank you.
episode 107. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, all our social media accounts. And Corey Sweeney, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.